What's going on, everybody? Dogman Dan here. We are in Warframe. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Devstream 80 overview and some other stuff that's going on in here. Just kind of go over it a little bit. And yeah, so I'm enjoying the new Syndicate melees right now. For me, I'm really playing the Dark Dagger. That's like the top of the game for me in terms of the ones that came out. I think also the Telos Boltace is just insane with its passive as well over some of the other ones that are out there. Not saying that the other ones are bad. I don't know. I haven't tried them all yet. You know, it takes me a little bit more time. I've had a very, very busy week at work, so there's that. Anyway, let's kind of just focus a little bit on some of the stuff that happened in Devstream 80 and what we're expecting a little bit. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but yeah. So all you consoles has the first Silver Grove, so you now have access to Titania and the Titania quest. Yay! We have obviously update 2 here on PC with our Syndicate weapons. They've got a new cinematic moments contest going on over on the forums, or if you can make a little video, 10 seconds or less, depicting a little bit of one of their specific cinematics from in-game, you have a chance to win some platinum. In regards to the second stream podcast, obviously there was a few guys on there. Doubt that you'll ever see me on there. I've actually asked about stuff like that, and I get no response. I don't think I'm significant enough to be part of the podcast, let alone the fact that I have to work, so it would probably never happen anyway. But yeah, so we move on from that. Endo system. Okay, they started discussing the new Endo system, or part 2 of the Endo system, and how it plays together, and they've got some statistics that people that have played more than 100 days are using it 6% more, and they've achieved an increase by 25% in terms of ranks. Well, first, we really have no choice but to use it, so yeah, of course everybody's using it more. Duh. But yeah, I think the Endo system that currently exists right now is actually pretty good in some bases. And I have been able to upgrade things more than I did before, though I think there's a higher credit cost than what there was. But nonetheless, I have tons of credits, so it doesn't really matter. But that's pretty much just the beginning of this. The second part, we're talking more like a treasure hunt, where you're trying to find sculptures or parts of sculptures that are Orcan artifacts powered by the Endo, and you will find them in crates and lockers in the Void. So this is going to allow us to go back into the Void and be more in tune with the Void again, have something to really look for when you're in there, something to do, maybe get people back into Void missions. You can also acquire these in weekly missions from Maru, so there's going to be pieces scattered everywhere. You'll find them, you'll put them together, you can place them on your ship, you can sell them back to Maru. If you sell a complete set back to Maru, then you get a ton of Endo. If you sell just in parts, you'll still get some decent Endo, but not as nearly as good as what they're saying you would get as a full set. Or you could keep it yourself. I'm not sure that you can trade it. I'm pretty sure you can trade it. I don't remember. No, you won't be able to trade it from what I can see. But there's a whole blog post on how that's all going to work. It's interesting to see. I'm curious what the treasure is that would come out of it, if we get a treasure specifically from it, what it is, if each one is different, that type of thing. They introduced a little bit of information on a spear gun. They obviously had, obviously our existing sets of different types of weapons, but it's been a long time since they've added a new one, so here comes the new one. It's going to be called spear guns. It's taken a while. Not because they didn't want to ship it out, but because adding this unique content has gotten a lot more difficult than in the past. So the new weapon class required new animations for every Warframe in both mobile and agile stances. Being done on a tactical, this mountain of new idols, if you will. It's kind of weird. I mean, I've seen some pictures of it. It's interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what the new spear gun is all about, but is it just like one, or are we going to suddenly see a whole ton of spear guns, and will that get boring after a while, having the same, type of thing We'll see. I mean, that's you know, to be concluded when it actually happens, and we see how many of those come out and how different they are from each other stat-wise and so forth and so on. They talked about universal vacuum, which I know that's going to be a hot topic for people. So they want to change up the vacuum basically on the carrier and split it out into 3 new mods that can be used by any Sentinel with 3 different types of vacuum. So if we're looking at it that way, you're going to have a health and energy vacuum, you have a credits and ammo vacuum, and then you'll have a mods, endo, and rare resources miscellaneous type of vacuum. Carrier and Carrier Prime will end up getting a new precept which buffs your ammo's capacity, increasing the precept level. Unused ammo types will actually convert into ammo of the currently equipped weapon over a small period of time, which is kind of cool, but at the same time, that's a big change. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, that means you would never have to run the ammo mod, if you will, the ammo vacuum mod, because you're going to be able to take the ammo capacity and buff it and change it and all that with Carrier Prime itself. But splitting it up into 3 mods, I think that's kind of weird, and it just doesn't really seem fit to me, and it just seems kind of like a step backwards in terms of how to do it. I don't know. I mean, you know, 50%, 60% of the community or whatever it is that runs Carrier. I don't know. I don't run Carrier. God, I think he's like my least used at this point. You guys should know that from me. So any of these things are not even going to affect me any. That the universal vacuum that supposedly everybody wants, that don't bother me. I have no problem running and finding the mods and the ammo and stuff that are on the ground. Never have, never will. Not an issue for me. The War Within. So they kind of talked about it. They're still doing voiceovers and editing there. So they're kind of on, I guess, their 7th and final version of voiceovers is what they're saying. But they're still not sure when they're going to ship it out. They're hoping to get it out this month for PC. But, you know, we don't know. They did start talking a little bit about Endgame in that, you know, it is something that they're starting to look at a little bit more. Now that they've basically got some core stuff in there for new players. Finally, they've got that kind of set up a little bit. I think there's still a lot more work to be done on new players. And honestly, in terms of player base, new players are what keeps the game going. Long-term players, or what everybody likes to refer to themselves as, veterans, really there's not as many there as there are for new players. In a free-to-play game, that's just the way it is. Generally, you'll play for, you know, 80, 90, 100 hours, depending upon what the game is, and then most people are gone. Okay, longevity of Warframe, obviously, we've been playing for years. We've put in thousands of hours, and it's different than what your standard F2P would be. So it changes things around a bit. I mean, this is something that I felt back when Firefall was still around. We had a point where there was no end game stuff. And it was all, you know, for newer players and younger players, and that was fine because that's where the core base is. Those are the people that keep the game running. You've got to keep new people coming in at all times in order to keep the game going and flowing and alive. You know, that's something that, yeah, sure, you want to focus with veterans, but you have to keep that stream of new players coming because that's how the game survives in a free-to-play model. But then eventually they started bringing out more endgame stuff. And I think endgame is going to be kind of difficult based off of how they have the mastery rank system in here. I really wish they would rework the mastery rank system. It makes it so much harder to come out with an endgame setup instead of being, okay, now you've reached this top level that you can reach. Sure, I can keep modding my weapons. I can keep leveling weapons. I can keep doing all that stuff, but you're only doing that to get to the next level of master rank and the next level of master rank, and at some point, you know, you realize that it's just negated. I mean, there's no real point to that other than, hey, I've got everything in the game and I've reached the highest master rank. Whereas I can reach the highest rank, now I can move on to a next level, if you will. Okay, I can, you know, enhance what I currently have, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. So they're talking about endgame. They've done some check-ins, and they looked, and they said that one defense mission, one endless defense mission, ACAD, has the most run mission. However, it is a run as a in and out instead of actually running it as an endless. And there's something missing, and they know that, and they want to figure out how to fix that and what's actually missing from it. They're also talking about new syndicate systems for veteran-friendly players, if you will, where there's a VIP syndicate assassination system. You're basically going to be like a hitman. You're going to have to hunt down specific VIPs that are custom to everybody. Like, everybody's going to have their own custom set. Each will have its own challenge and reward based on your level of player that you are. Again, so that's going to be tied somehow into mastery rank. And like I said, the mastery rank to me has always been something that's a borked system. I would really like to find a way to see that one reworked. If you fail, you'll become more difficult. If your target isn't taken down within an allotted time period, you'll lose syndicate standing. So there will be, you know, backlashes as well. So the challenge can be pretty good. Basically, if you can get through it, rescuing the VIPs will also be an option. So there'll be some of that stuff as well. That'll be interesting to see what rewards we're looking at. You know, I mean, you can put something in there that's really challenging, but if the rewards are not good enough, then nobody's going to want to keep playing it. I mean, it's just like, you know, at some point you're like, oh, I'm not really benefiting from playing that. It's alright, I did it a few times, but now I'm done with it because there's no kickback to me. There's no benefit. What am I getting that's special out of it, you know? So they have to think about that reward system as well. What's going to be special to actually doing these types of end-game content? What is it going to give me? You know, is it going to give me... It can be anything, you know? But it's got to be something that's going to keep everybody wanting to go back and play it more and play it more. So, again, that ties into mastery systems and stuff, and just some changes, I think, core-wise, that would really have to be done before you can implement something like this properly. But I'm rambling. Then they've got some, like, you know, general cleanup stuff that they talked about, mentioning the Arcane Distiller changes that they're still talking about, and, you know, Bladestorm rework with the Ash Deluxe skin coming. Sheldon's looking into sortie mission changes, which, God, they need a huge improvement. Nobody really plays them. I mean, what's the incentive to play them, really? I mean, I can get, what, 2,000 or 4,000 endo out of it. That's cool. You know, don't get me wrong. I can still get a legendary core, which I've never gotten. But the other stuff in there is not really, you know, everybody has Neza, and the few people that don't, it's not that hard to get him in terms of trade, too, if you wanted. And the Wraith weapons that are in there, or whatever, the Vandals or whatever they put in there, everybody's got them already. So they need to come up with new weapons that should fit in there. You know, they need to come up with something new that goes in there every season, if you will. Something new that others will not have, that gives a drive for people to actually go and play. There's a million different things that I can think of in my head that, you know, that could bring in the old weapons that are that are not there, bring them back in the game, but at the same time deliver something new, something special, something different every time a season comes up. It really, I mean, with the season running a few weeks, it really shouldn't be too difficult to come up with something. But, you know, and I'm sure there'd be some rotation in there, but, you know, there is that. They have no plans for hand-to-hand combat at this point, and they've already made the next 10-gen round picks, but they have to put it all together and decide, you know, release names and all that stuff. Warframe iOS stickers might be coming, might be a thing. And they are talking about looking at the HDR for the Xbox One and the PS4 Pro. So that'd be interesting if they can upgrade the graphics to match the new systems. You know, I think that would really, for consoles, that would even, for the people that are going to get that, you know, that'd be pretty cool, because that would really put you in line with some better graphic options and closer to some of the stuff that we experience here, I think, on PC, that you guys miss out on the consoles in that regards. But that's interesting. I don't know. I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't know how many people are going to go and buy these Pro systems. Are they really worth it? I mean, when you look at all the other pieces that are involved in putting in together to get the ultimate experience out of that Pro system, I don't want to put that kind of money out. Going to buy a 4K TV and this, that, and everything else. Really? It's. I'm fine with my standard 1080p right now, 1920 by 1080. I'm happy with it. It works for me. It's a great experience. Still showcases nice on video on YouTube. Sure, it showcase better if you had 4K, blah, 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 but it's just more time and effort, larger hard drive that I need for recording the content, this, that, and everything else, you know, so there is that. Anyway, that's just some of the stuff that happened there, a little bit of my thoughts and opinions on the side. Thanks for tuning in. I will catch you guys soon. I've got, you know, all these melee weapons to go through and that stuff and plenty of other things as well. Alright, till next time, thanks for tuning in.